We are in Okotoks at the Centennial Arena for the 2023 Alberta Junior B Provincials. And a 6-team format this year, 5 league champions, the defending champions, the Fort St. John Huskies. And the year prior, the Heritage Junior Hockey League, the league champions. It's been a long time since the Calgary team has won it, and I'm joined now by the chair of the Calgary Junior Hockey League, and a guy who you might know for a bit of a different reason. He is Mark Stephen, also the voice of the Calgary Stampeders. Mark, thank you so much for making time for us today.
Yeah, very nice. A nice tournament, really well run, really enjoying it here.
You know, I'm not going to lie, when I ran into you on the concourse, there are areas that you and I have run into throughout media over the last decade a number of times. In a hockey arena wasn't one of the places I was expecting to see you. And lo and behold, you're the chair of Calgary Junior Bs. So what's that journey been like, and how did you get into the role?
How did I get it? Well, I was kind of appointed a volunteer, I guess. My son played in this league for 4 years, so our son was with a Calgary team. They even went to the Provincials 4 years ago when I was in Wetaskiwin. And after last year when his eligibility expired, I just said to the people, I said, I'd love to see if there's a way to stay involved. And I thought maybe that would be helping draw up the schedule, or maybe they could call me to go watch a game to see if, to keep track of the teams. Well, in late August, they only said that the chair had to step down. What do you think? So here I am. So from what I thought would just be a part-time, small, insignificant role to being in charge, it's been very enjoyable. I'm glad I got to stay involved.
All right, isn't that how most of the great roles happen? Or, hey, you want to just go do that? Oh, now I'm doing all of it. Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, that's fine. It's a nice, rewarding job. It was hardly a tough sell because I really enjoyed the time that our son had in the league and the people that we met and the games and just everything. So I was not dragged into it, let's put it that way.
Absolutely, and you and I have both been close to this game for a number of years. We were talking about that off air as well. And maybe for those who aren't familiar with it, and when you think of Junior B in Alberta, it's safe to say people do talk about the Heritage Junior Hockey League, the Northwest, the Capital, the Northeast, maybe a little bit less of the Calgary Junior B League. So what's the journey been like, taking that on and taking that responsibility on?
Well, yes, you're right. First of all, the Calgary League is probably structured a little differently in the sense that there are 4 quadrants in Calgary, and each quadrant's required to field and ice 2 Junior B teams. So that's sort of the structure there, which means you sort of have a group of players determined by geography of where you live in the city of Calgary. So the 8 teams, some are really good, like the one here, the Rangers who won today. There are some where it's quite a struggle to get, enough good caliber players together, and this is a good caliber of hockey. So, it's a lot of work in the off season to get players in, but it's an 8-team league. One thing about it, though, it's had its trials, but it's almost 80 years old in different formats. So there's a lot of tradition and heritage behind it. So it's just an interesting league to be a part of, and a part of hockey and watching some great level competition.
And great level of competition. The Calgary Rangers, highest scoring team in all of Alberta Junior B this year, 264 goals for, 35 against. Robert Anhorn, 103 points. You've taken shotgun to all that. What's that been like to watch them this year?
Well, they've been tremendous. There's no doubt about that. They're really a powerful offensive team. One of the bonuses they had is they were a great team last year, and the vast majority of those players came back, and then for the few holes they had to fill, it's the old saying that success begets success. So a lot of players, were recruiting other players to come. So they strengthened the team. Early in the year, they were dominant. There's no sense kidding anyone because they were quite intact compared to other teams that were pulling it together. The competition got tighter the later the season went on, but there's no getting around the fact they are a tremendous talented team. You mentioned Anhorn. He's one of many, many others. He's amazing to watch. He is able to maneuver in some very tight spaces and make a lot of things happen. They're a very good team.
Mark, you're a guy who's been in media for decades and decades and well respected internationally just by what you've been able to build and the kind of person you are. Now, having your type of knowledge in that chair position, what are some of those things that maybe are part of potential ideas we can expect to see from Calgary Junior B?
Well, first of all, one thing is to, maybe expound on the heritage. It's not just a league that's been sort of tucked away in a corner. It's got a lot of heritage to do. There's a lot of, in the 2 arenas where the Calgary teams play most of their games, there's a great wall of fame. Maybe we got to add a bit to that. Maybe we got to let people know that the Calgary Junior B League is here, and make sure that graduating players in Calgary stay with it. Some of them want to move on and go out of town, and that's fine, but there's still a great option in the city for players to stay and play and be able to go to school if that's their choice. So it's just a great option, and hopefully we can get that word out there a little bit more.
Yeah, and based on that, you and I both work in the medium that can be able to provide that word. Has there been any kind of preliminary discussions for the options of maybe doing some streaming? I'm not aware if there's any streaming at all for Calgary Junior B hockey games.
No, not as of this minute. There isn't anything, but funny you should mention that. One of the really neat things about being around the league is the stories you hear and the people. And wow, one pair of parents cornered me and said their son wants to get into sports reporting. So maybe he's going to be the guy who can, play the first game and then broadcast the second game. As of this minute, no. It is, it is a little different funding model in the sense that you're tied to the quadrant of your city as opposed to being something independent. But I think it'd be tremendous. The world is going online. Let's not kid anyone. But just like this tournament, which may be a Junior B tournament, but being broadcasted at NHL level. So I think that day is here. I think, and it's, and I would say it's easy, but it's fairly user friendly to be able to do something like that.
Mark, it's always such a treat when we have the chance to interact. And thank you so much for your time, and best of luck. And maybe one last question for you. It's been since 2005 since the Calgary team has won the Russ Barnes Trophy. I think the Rangers 2-0 now have a good shot at it, don't they?
Well, I do. Here's what I liked about the game they played against Wainwright. They won 2-0. Now they've got, deservedly so, a reputation for great offense, but I thought their goaltender was sensational today. Actually, both goaltenders were, to tell you the truth. But maybe they've got another dimension. They haven't had to show a lot during the season because they played with the lead most of the season. So it's a situation where maybe the goaltending is going to come through just as the offense has all season long.
Always a wealth of information. One of the nicest guys you'll ever get a chance to meet, Mark. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you, and keep up the great work.
Appreciate it.